Every founder I coach has a big 5, 10-year vision, ambitious plans to disrupt the status quo with their technology and have a revolutionary impact. But when I ask that same founder what they want out of today's 2 p.m. meeting, big pause. They're winging it through today's emails, meetings, and hiring decisions without a clear picture of what success looks like. The vision for the future is clear, but today isn't. And what you do today is what has the most influence on executing on your vision. So by the end of this video, you'll understand why it's so important to never start anything, a meeting, an email, a decision-making process, without getting clear on what you want out of it. Sounds obvious, doesn't it? Starting with the end in mind is one of the 7 habits of highly effective people, said Stephen Covey decades ago. So why don't we actually do it? I can tell you in my case, I noticed so much resistance to just pausing and imagining the ideal outcome. I just want to jump in and start doing things. That's because fundamentally, our brains don't want to exert precious mental energy to think. They want to stay on autopilot. It takes way less energy to reply immediately to the snarky email, take the unscheduled call from your investor without preparing. Action feels productive, even when it's not moving you toward your goals. And that's what survival mode actually is. You're just reacting to whatever's in front of you, driven by automatic impulse. Now, the opposite of survival mode is creation mode. That's where you're building something that doesn't exist yet. And managing that impulse to charge ahead without thinking first takes self-regulation, one of the key aspects of emotional intelligence. Because when you start with the end in mind, something shifts. You're not reacting anymore. You're creating from the future. And it shifts your state of mind. You're open to possibilities you'd never see from inside survival mode. Yes, even for a simple email or routine team meeting. So how does this actually work? The way I do it is before a Zoom call or email, I ask myself one question. What do I want to have happen? And then I just take a sheet of scratch paper and write down 3 or 4 bullets. If it's a call, for example, understand what they care about. Find 1 or 2 things we have in common. Here's another example. One of my founder clients was struggling with an underperforming team member. So instead of diving into yet another unproductive conversation where nothing changed, she paused and pictured what success actually would look like a month out. And here's what she landed on. When I envision the next month going really well, I see he's communicating regularly with engineering on customer feedback, so they're clear on which feature requests are coming up in customer calls. He's effectively combining his technical expertise with our sales side in customer meetings. And he's running weekly strategy sessions that make customer traction feel streamlined rather than overwhelming. Instead of focusing on what she didn't want to happen, she got clear on her expectations and what improvement would actually look like in practice. And then she communicated them to the team member. She'd been tussling for months with whether it could work. And once she pictured the outcome she actually wanted, it became unavoidably clear it wasn't going to work. And that clarity let her move forward with more conviction. If you want to avoid hiring that underperformer to begin with, try fast forwarding with your next hiring decision. Annie Duke, a former professional poker player who now teaches decision making, suggests, imagine it's a year from now and you're really unhappy with this hire. What were the early signals that this person wasn't going to work out? Write them down, and for each one, figure out if it's a signal where you would fire or a signal where you would manage it. And then decide in advance how you would manage it. Starting with the end in mind doesn't just improve each individual task. It has this compounding effect. Every time you do this, it's like you're tuning your antenna. You pick up more signal. You think more rationally. You're less susceptible to bias and reactive impulse. And you're not just thinking about what you hope happens. You're also thinking about the challenges you might face, the pushback you'll get, the things that could go sideways. and you're anticipating how you'll handle it. Your default mode shifts from reactive problem solving to proactive outcome creation. You might be surprised by the options that become visible once you start creating instead of reacting. So here's a micro experiment to try. Pick your next routine interaction, a team meeting, an investor email, a call with a new prospect. And before you jump in, pause, grab a piece of scratch paper, write down what you want to have happen. Drop a comment down below and tell me which interaction you'll try this on. Because it turns out the future doesn't start in 5 years. It starts right now.